Hello, everybody. Yay, you can hear me. Perfect. I'm going to mute myself. Okay, I had some echoing happening. Hi, guys. I'm really happy to be here at the studio painting. And I'm glad you guys are joining. This is the first time I'm painting in 2 months, or it's been too long. I have 2 little kids. It's possible to paint at home. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm glad you guys are here too. So we are painting a pretty cool painting tonight. Very foresty, magical forest here. There is some perspective painting drawing in this. I will show you guys how to do that. So yeah, this is what we're doing, and I'll be kind of moving that to you guys, and I'll be able to see this painting on the Zoom as you guys are going too. So I'll show you guys. Yeah, I want to just cover for you Zoom. Yeah, could you adjust that so it's lower? Okay. Sorry, guys, this is the first time we're doing this. Well, you know, we're artists and technical things are
everyone
a little hard.
Hi everyone, this is Nancy, and I just want to give those folks who have not been on Zoom before just a quick run through of what to do with Zoom, okay? And we're still getting people admitted. So Katie, thank you so much for pausing, and we'll get started in just a second. So if you have never used Zoom before, everyone's display is slightly different depending on the device that you're using. If you're using an iPad or an iPhone or a Mac, your display is going to look different than people who are using a PC. I'm using a PC right now. So on the upper top part of my PC screen, if I take my mouse and hover over the upper right corner, I can go between gallery view, that's 9 dots, or I can do full screen. And so gallery view, that just shows you everyone else who's here with you, or you can see the full screen, so you can go back and forth. So let's see what else I should tell you. I have it set so that we're going to mute people if we hear noise. During the class, please find your mute button. On my PC, it's the lower left-hand corner, and there's a little microphone, and you can click it so that it says, it'll say unmute because you'll be on mute. So you can go back and forth between mute and unmute. Keep yours mute while she's giving instructions, please, and then when she's giving her, when she takes a break, then you can unmute it and you can chat with the other people. Sound good? Just nod your head if you can hear me, okay? Awesome, thank you. Okay. Still admitting some folks into the room. There's another feature called chat. Oh, I'm going to be quieter because that's my echo. Marilyn told me that there's an echo, so I'll be a little quieter. Katie and I are in the same general school, so. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, okay. So, let's see. So there's a place on your screen called chat. If you have a question, you can type it, and I will watch for those, and I will ask Katie to address those questions. And does anyone have any questions right now? If so, please give me a chat. A message on chat. Okay, it looks good. Okay, I am going to, thank you for the advice, that's great. Some folks were saying if I mute, the echo will go away, and I will be muting it. I just want to make sure that you have the instructions before I mute myself. Mine says Sipping and Painting Hampden. Right now you can just see the top of my head. In a moment, I'm going to change that so that you see the painting you're painting tonight. Okay, and then the echo will also go away. Okay, so I'm going to turn myself off, and Katie is going to take over, and you're going to love painting with Katie. All right, I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, guys, I know this is a little different than coming into the studio, but again, I'm really glad you're here. You just joined in. I'm really excited to paint, so this is gonna be fun. So we have our pretty forest painting. If you didn't see it before, and I believe Nancy said she's going to change her picture to that, but this is what we're doing tonight. If you want to do something else, and I'm just kind of giving instructions about acrylic paint, you can do that too. If you're using colored pencils or chalk or whatever, you can do your thing, and I can help as much as I can with that, because I'm going to help you guys with some different colors coming out. And then again, this is kind of a perspective painting, which can have its own things. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that too. So again, if you guys want to do something else, please do. So again, I'm really glad you're here. So materials real quick that I have, and if you picked up a kit at the studio, you should have something similar, and I'll kind of go over things if you don't. I do have my paints right here. I have white, yellow, black, and I have blue for a reason that I'll explain in just a sec. And then I have this dark green, which is called phthalo green. If you don't have this phthalo green and you want it to be that darker green that's in the painting, you can mix your yellow and blue, whatever blue you have, and just mix more blue than the yellow. And that will make that darker green, because yellow and blue make green. If you add more blue, it will be darker. Okay, so you can do that. The phthalo green is kind of the main thing in this painting though. So you can use whatever green you have though. If you want it to be brighter, if you want it to be purple, you can really do whatever you want. When I teach classes in here, I love when people do different things. So, you do you. If you want to do something different colors, it's awesome. You don't have to do what I'm doing. And then I have brushes. The brushes I have, again, if you picked up a kit in the class, you will have something similar. You will have these 3 brushes. It's like a large, we call it a big brush in here. We're very technical. Medium brush, and a small brush. And then I do have a fan brush. If you don't have this fan brush, that's okay. This brush can kind of do some like leafy things if you tap it on the painting, but I will show you guys how to do that without the fan brush. You don't have to do that. Okay, I bet you guys are ready to paint. I'm tired of us talking and technical things, so let's get to it. And if you guys have questions, we can help you out, okay? So we're gonna start with this big brush. And if you should have a jar of water also. That's important actually. If you're using acrylic paints, water helps thin the paints out. They are water-based paints, so it helps thin the paint. The more water you use, the thinner the paint gets. And it helps it dry quicker. Acrylic paints dry pretty quick, but the more water you use, it kind of helps that. It thins it out. So I always, dip my brush in my water. And if you're having a drink next to you as well, keep your water jar and your drink kind of on opposite sides, because that does happen when you're drinking different drinks and you don't want to drink your water. So water jar, dip your big brush in there, and we're going to go right into your green. And again, if you don't have this phthalo green, if you want a similar color, just mix your blue and yellow, just more blue than yellow. But I'm going right into my phthalo green. I had a little water in my brush, and I'm scooping a big, big scoop. And I'm going to start making circular motions around my canvas. So we are going to be blending colors to make this, fade to that darker or lighter stuff in the middle. So we're going to be making circular motions with your phthalo green, or whatever green you have, whatever color you're using. Yeah.
Can you tell them if they didn't get blue in their kit? If they got a kit and it's just a green, that means it's already mixed.
Okay. So Nancy just told me that if you didn't get blue in your kit, you just have the green, that means it's already mixed for you, okay? So don't worry about that. But we're going to be blending this green all the way to the sides, and dipping into your water really helps that green go all the way. Acrylic paints are really awesome for blending. They blend very well when you go on top. Like the main thing, if you've never done acrylic paints or if you're still learning, the main thing I always tell everybody is that, acrylic paints, when you blend with water and right on top of each other, when it's wet, the paints will blend and they will mix, and when it's dry, you paint right on top. So that's the big thing. When it's wet, it blends really nice, and when it's dry, you paint right on top. So we're going to go with this green. I'm going to have you guys do the whole canvas. I'm going to give you all this, and then I will stop talking and yeah, you guys do your thing. But we're gonna do green all the way to the corners, still doing this circular motion. I keep dipping into my water. And then when you guys have, you know, quite a bit of a big circle going, you can start dipping into your yellow and go right on top of that color, right on top of that green. And that's going to start blending that green and yellow together in a really nice way, mixed together. You know, if you go right underneath it, it's going to be more of like a bullseye. And you want to try to avoid that a little bit. So you want to put the yellow on top of the green as you're going down. So you're going down, add a little bit of water. Sorry, I'm really excited to paint. So if I'm going too fast, you guys do your thing. I'm here for you. I've been home with 2 little kids for way too long, and I'm away from them and getting to paint. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, if I'm going faster than you, the reason I am going faster though is, you know, I can show you what to do and then you can go. So don't feel like you have to be at the same pace that I am, okay? Okay.
Here's some setting like that. Wow.
Yeah.
So you still have to look up there.
So usually in the studio, we have music going. We don't tonight, but if you're at home and you know, think of something you love to listen to while you're painting, music is wonderful while you're painting. It kind of like gives you a little bit more creativity. I don't know, it just puts you in a good mood. I love listening to music while I paint. So, you know, do that for yourself if you're at home. Just put something on.
Right now, it's just you. I'm going to take a break. Okay. And then when you say it, I'll switch it to the other.
Okay, guys. I'm going to keep going with this yellow, or whatever color you're using that's lighter. If you're using different colors, just try to make it like a lighter, brighter color. And you can also do that by adding white. And that's what we're going to do next. So I'm adding this yellow, I'm overlapping, and see my green and yellow already started to dry, so they're not mixing as well. So I'm going to add a little bit more green. Always go back and forth. I go back and forth between colors all the time. So adding a little bit more green if you need to. We want this yellow to stand out. You always rinse off your brush if you have too much yellow. But you want to kind of circle in on the middle, because this painting, the trees go back to this like bright area. You can see this. So this is the goal, to make this area lighter than the rest. So we want this to be pretty much white. You can have a little bit of color in there, but you want to have this white. So you want to think about how far up you want that to go and start making the circle around there, because your trees are going to go out on both corners. So you want to have that circle, you know, a little bit higher than halfway. Actually, it's pretty close to halfway. So you want that circle right in there. So I'm going to start adding a little bit of white so you guys can see this. Adding a little bit of white, and it's going to be nice and bright that way. After we do this, we're going to take a little break. So I want to see your paintings. I'm an instructor that walks around all the time, so I want to see what people are doing. So this is very different for me. Okay, no worries. If you guys are going, you know, at a slower pace, that's fine. You know, relax. You're at home. You're getting to paint. Hopefully you have, you know, some sort of beverage nearby that you enjoy, and you can paint at whatever pace you want to. Okay, I'm just going to show you guys how to do this, and then I can help out if you need me. Okay. But you really, the goal is to have the center lighter. So you go from the green to the yellow to the white, and you're overlapping the colors. That's the big thing. So I'm filling this all the way down to the bottom. You want your whole canvas to be filled. I'm just going to get this filled up so that you guys can see it. You can always make that lighter too as we go before we add our trees. If you have green on your brush, you might want to rinse it a little bit. And if you have paper towels or some sort of towel nearby that you can get paint on, I use a lot of paper towels when I'm painting. If you guys have been in one of our classes, we walk around and hand these out because you want to dab your brush on there to get colors off of there and to help it get a little bit dry. You can add more white to the middle to brighten it up. And without hearing anybody talk, I feel a little bit like Bob Ross up here talking about what I'm doing. We do Bob Ross classes in here. Nancy's the owner of the studio, actually, is Bob Ross certified, which is pretty awesome. And she teaches classes with all his techniques, oil paints. I think we're going to be doing some of those too. We need to find out the info on that soon. Yeah, we'll be doing, yeah. So check the website for that. Yeah, things are changing every day, so we're having to change things up every day as well. Okay, so I'm just kind of blending colors on top of what I've done to make this a nice bright center. We are going to be painting over a lot of this, so don't stress about it, how this looks. This is our background, and if you guys have been to any of our classes, backgrounds usually get painted over, so don't worry too much about it. We really just want the center to be bright and it fade out to darker. But yeah, we're going to be painting trees on top of this. So our trees are going to be on top of the sides, and then we're going to have our, forest ground right here too. So you guys do your thing, take your time, relax. This is a time to, take care of yourself. In these crazy times. So, do you and just kind of play around with your paint and have the center brighter, okay? I'm going to take a little break, but I am here to help if you guys need anything. Nancy is also here, so yeah, we can chat with you guys through the Zoom. Well, again, this is my first time doing the Zoom, so I will figure it out though, and I'm there for you, okay? We're going to take a little break for me talking. You guys keep painting. Okay, sure you're doing awesome.
You can see if maybe you can, I don't really know if you can find the gallery view on my phone. Like swiping left or swiping right. I don't really know. Are there any icons on there?
Yeah, there. Oh no. It doesn't.
No. Okay. I don't want to stop it accidentally. Okay. So, you're welcome to come over here.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, I'm going to put my mask back on. If you want to look, I'll spray over here.
Yep.
After I move my wine, I'll spray it. I sprayed so much Lysol today, I think we didn't take the Lysol. I don't know if they have a question. So click on chat and you'll see what chat people, I close the chat so you can see that Did you put yourself on mute? No.
Hey everyone, it's Nancy here, and I just want to tell you a couple things while you're catching up with what Katie did here. My name is Nancy, I'm the owner here, and we're still trying to figure out exactly how many virtual classes we're going to have every week and when we're going to start our in-person classes again. I know some of the other studios have. Our staff is, we want to just be really sure that it's the right time to do it. So keep checking our website frequently. We will be having at least more virtual classes and possibly opening the studio again very soon. And as Katie said, I'm going to be starting some Bob Ross classes here online pretty soon, so that's going to be exciting. Those are oil painting classes. I also wanted to let you know that I'm here every day from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and I'm here from 10 to 3 during the day on Saturday and Sunday. And we have some face mask kits for sale. And in your face mask, it's $35 for a face mask kit. And what you get is 5 3-ply white cotton masks that you can paint yourself. It comes with paints and brushes and a palette and instructions. And so if you're interested in that, you can come by during our studio hours and pick one up. People have done really super cute things with these paint your own face masks. They've painted lion faces and cat faces and dog faces and silly lips, and it's been a lot of fun to see those. Also, we have some sipping and painting masks, and I won't touch the middle part, but Katie was holding those up before. And then we also have some regular white 3-ply cotton masks. They're $5 each. They're just soft white cotton. And yeah, I forgot to tell you. And then we have some hand-painted Monet-inspired masks. And those are three masks for $15 or $7 each. And they're really lovely. They look like abstract Monet. It's made through a tie-dye process, but they look kind of like Monet. So, Katie's gonna hand me one. Hold on one second. Awesome. Hopefully you can see that through the bag. Aren't they pretty? And I was in France last year and I saw Monet's garden. And so remembered the colors I saw, and that's what I painted. So come on down sometime and visit me from 3 to 6 in the afternoons and pick up some masks if you like. Yeah, and I think that's about it. So I'm going to just let you relax and finish catching up, and then Katie will get started in a few minutes. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate you coming back and painting with us again today. We really love our customers. We miss you so much in the studio, and we're really happy that you came back to paint today. We'll talk to you again in a few. Hey everyone, it's Nancy again. I'm the one with the picture that looks like you're painting. I just wanted to ask you to unmute yourself so we can hear you, because Katie's really sad. She really misses you. So could you unmute yourselves and say hello?
I want to see your paintings.
Hello.
Hello. If you guys are comfortable with it, I'd love to see what you're doing. Yeah.
Hi.
I miss seeing people paintings.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice.
I can show.
Ooh, nice. You guys are doing awesome. Voices in different colors. Pretty, guys. Thank you so much for showing.
No, yours
If you guys
isn't
have
showing.
any questions,
You go to another page.
you can ask on the chat and I can answer you, or
There you
while
are.
we're taking breaks and
Oh,
concerns about it. Like, I'm here for you. But those look great. You guys are doing awesome. Nice blending, Elliot. Cool. So we are going to let these dry for a couple minutes. Once you guys have your, your background nice and blended and the center bright, we need to let them dry because acrylic paint, again, it's water-based. It's dry, you can paint right on top. So we're going to paint our trees on top of this. We do need to let it dry. So it dries quick, real pretty. Let's see. Yeah, just let them dry for a few minutes. If your paint is really thick on there, it's going to take longer to dry. You can always put it out in the wind if you need to. Not really get dust on it, but we have a fan in the back of our studio that we use sometimes. So if it's really thick, you can put it in front of something, but it usually dries very quickly. So we'll take about a 5-minute break. Maybe get another glass of wine or water or whatever. You guys take care of yourselves, and we'll come back and do trees. And again, if you have any questions, thank you. Okay, I'll get back to you guys. And yeah, let me know.
I guess you say something.
I might have some. If you go into the kitchen, you know the little low cupboard that's underneath the reef now? Okay, well, it has some acrylic paint in it.
Future. But anyways, yeah, I'm trying to answer. They have chat questions though too. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it okay to do that? Like, yeah, of course. Sorry, I didn't like. I just want to share some with you. Yeah, I would love to. Like
Oh, look, Kai.
While Katie's answering your questions on chat, I'm just going to show you a video for those of you who have never been here before. Maybe you got a link and you've never been here. This is our studio. There's Bob Ross. Hey, Bob. For those of you in Denver, I hope you'll come painting with us soon as we reopen.
You're doing great. Okay, that's ridiculous. So, great. So, I like to have people put a dot, a white dot, and then go for the corners. This is so much easier. Okay. I mean, I'll take your tip. Yeah, so a big fat white dot that, you know, carve around like that. And then use the brush and then just with your tiny brush draw out little like yellow liner dots. Yeah. Okay. But if they're going to do dots, make sure they do the same number all the time. Yeah. All 4 ways. Okay. So they know the trees. So, and then the dots should be closer when it's farther away. So, dot, 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 and then space out. It is. It is. I've painted this one a bunch of times, and that's the easiest way. You're welcome to do it however you want. I just found that's the easiest.
That sounds wonderful.
Trying to do like symmetrical all the way out, and then, you know, balancing level is just really hard. This would be easier for you to do first.
Yeah, okay. How do I mute myself? How do I mute? Is it already good?
Why don't you talk into it? I don't think you're muted.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Thumbs up? Yeah? Okay, well, I was just thinking we should do a little toast. We've had a lot happening in the world, and I personally am so glad to be painting with you guys, and it feels really good. Like, art is something that, you know, you can release a lot of things and you can make your own stuff. It feels so good to get creative, in my opinion. But I wanted to give a toast to you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and painting with me and supporting a local business, which you are. Yeah, we are privately owned, locally owned, so we really love and appreciate you guys. You're helping your local artists, so you're awesome. But toast, cheers to you guys. If you have a glass, if you want to raise it up, we'll, you know, virtually cheers. Yay! Okay, well, I just want to do that real quick, and we'll just do like 2-3 more minutes to let it dry. If yours is still wet when I start giving instruction again, don't worry, just give it a second, and we'll go from there. Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, Katie. No, it's okay. I totally get it. I was totally fine until I went outside earlier and then the wind was all crazy. And I was like, we lost power at my house. Wow. It's actually at my parents' house. Oh, excuse me. Honestly, someone here, it's not. It's like, what weirdness. I'm not trying to. Yeah, of course not. So Sabrina was here. She didn't come in, she was in her car. I just brought out her paints to her, that's all. She was cracking with her favorite paints. And Leah came a few days later and she said, Sabrina's not in quarantine anymore. Because they kept her in quarantine for 2 weeks after she came. And And so Sophia was like relaxed and letting her hair down, and she's sitting out there. She said, oh, so relieved now. And then the next day, Sabrina was supposed to start coming, and she got sick. She said, I think that fever. When she got tested, they said she was negative. Okay. Yeah. And then there are some colds out there.
Make sure you leave the volume up loud for me, Kai.
Okay, friends, I think everybody's about ready. So we're going to move on to our next step. If you want to dry out your big brush is going to take a break. You can leave them in your water if you want. That helps your brushes not dry out, but you can take it out of your water if you like.
1L.
You have your paper towels if you need to dab it off. But we're going to move on to our next step. And again, this is a kind of a perspective painting, which, you know, there's plenty of art classes out there that take months to learn. But I'm going to show you guys a nice, easy way to get this and a cool perspective of these trees going out. And it looks like you're zoomed in on looking at the center. I feel like it's like a magical forest. So we want to make sure that our trees in the back are smaller. And as you go out, the trees get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because when you're looking at something far away, you know, they're smaller, and things get bigger as, you know, they get closer. And they are, you know, closer together as well as you look farther back. But I'm going to give you guys a little step here to help with making that work. And we're going to grab our small brush. So if you guys want to grab a small brush, you just dip them in the water a little bit. If your water is really dark green, you can always rinse it out. Get a fresh one. But I'm going to get my small brush, dab into my white, and I'm going to get a good amount of white on here because I want to be able to see where my white is. And I'm going to put my white right in the center of my white circle. So wherever your circle is, if it's higher or lower than mine, that's fine. Don't worry about that. But I'm putting mine in the center of my circle. You can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be exact. But I'm putting my white dot. Yep, right there. I know it's hard to see, but I'll zoom it in for you. But I put a white dot right in the middle, right in the middle of my white circle.
This bubbly
Again, it
water.
doesn't have to be exact, but it's, you know, pretty close. And then with your brush, you know, probably longest brush you have is good. So I'm going to take my big brush out of my water, and I'm going to take my big brush and put the end right in the center where I put that dot and angle it right to the corner of my canvas. So I'm going to start in the right corner here, but you want that to, you know, kind of line up. Again, doesn't have to be exact, but this is just a nice way to get those lines going. So the end of my brush is at the white dot, and it goes down to the corner of my canvas. I'm going to the right bottom corner first. You can go to whatever corner you want, but that's just what I'm doing there. And you want that to be, you know, pretty straight. Try not to like angle it down or anything. You guys can handle this. I know. So you have your brush there, and I'm going to use a little bit of white, maybe a little bit of yellow just so I can see it, and some water. Use some water in your brush because you want it to be nice and thin, a thin layer of paint, because we're going to paint over it. But this is just a guideline to show us where our trees are going to go. So I have my little brush, some water on there, some white, a little bit of yellow, but you can just use white if you want. And I'm making a line from that center all the way down to the corner of my canvas. And I want to be able to see that. So I might need a little bit more white. Okay. I'll show you guys a little bit closer. So I just have that line all the way down to the corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna go quicker than yours too.
That line is down to the corner there.
Where can I see
do that to every corner. So you guys do, you know, do every corner. I will kind of let you do your own thing, but you know, you just line it up. So I'm gonna go top right corner now.
What were you laughing at?
That line.
How
Using
thick
it
am
like
I?
a ruler. You have a ruler, you can do that
The
too.
line,
But your brush works.
how thick it was. She's supposed to be doing a
Whatever
real
line
thin
you want
line.
to
And
do. You're going
I don't
to the
think I used
corner
enough
between,
water
you're
in
gonna
my
be
brush.
painting over it, so don't worry how it looks too much. This is just a guideline. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys do that real quick, and then we'll start on our trees. And again, ask any questions through chat if you need, or you know, wave your hands crazy or something if you need. Nancy's over there watching, so you know, let me know if you have any questions. But center that to the corner.
Me too. Right when you said that, that happened to me. Because I was like, well, I guess I'm not using enough water, and then I used more water.
There we go.
And guys, just so everybody can hear, if your Zoom is not on mute, could you please mute it so everybody can hear instructions? I know it's hard to know with these technological things, but yeah, if you're not muted, please mute so everybody can hear. Okay, thanks guys. But they can unmute if you let them know that, and then they should mute it again. And you can unmute to ask a question though. You know, don't be shy to do that. Please do. You know, unmute if you need to talk to me. I'm here. I miss talking to people. You guys can unmute. It's okay. Okay, so we have our 4 lines. I want to make sure that everybody's kind of at this step, so just give me 1 minute. Somebody just so can we take a second and I'm going to just repeat the conversation? Or do you want to just say, a person who just joined, I just want to catch you up. This is what we've done so far. Because it's just dark circle, you know. I don't think she's on there yet. Because not everybody has it. So I'll do it really quick. Yeah, just tell her it's not too late to catch up, and this is what we've done so far. Real quick, guys, I think somebody just joined, and it's not too late to catch up. Whoever you are, if you want to keep paint with us, we're through the beginning part of our painting, but the main thing is you want the center to be light and white, and you blend outwards to darker green. If you have other colors, that's okay too. But you want the center to be white. Your acrylic paints blend well with water. You paint right on top, you blend outwards, and then it's kind of good review for everybody actually. And then you put the center, in the center of your white, you put a big white dot with your small brush. In the beginning, you use your big brush. Small brush in the center, and we're going to make lines to each corner. You can line your brush to each corner, and you're going to have a guideline to where your trees are going to go. So if you just joined, it's okay. You can catch up and do your own thing, and I'll help you as I can. But that's kind of where we are. We have our lines to each corner. Okay. Ask what brush numbers we're using. And we're using a number 10 flat and a number 4 flat and a number 2 round. Okay. But they can use whatever they want. So somebody asked what brush sizes we were using. If you're curious about that, it's always good to ask questions. You can use whatever brush you want, but this is a number 2 round, the small one. Number 4 flat is the medium brush, and a number, what's the big one, Nancy? A number 10 flat. Number 10 flat. Sorry, I use these brushes all the time. I actually didn't know. Number 10 flat is the big one, okay? Again, you can use whatever sizes you want. That's what we use here in the studio all the time. But yeah, that's sizes. Okay. I'm going to give you guys the next instruction. If you're not quite there, it's okay. I will take a break right after this so I can ask you guys can ask some questions. But we're going to start making some trees. And the thing with trees is you really want them, you know what, I might grab a piece of paper to show you guys my tree example. But we're going to make our trees straight up. You want them to be straight to the top of your canvas. You don't want to make them sideways to the angles. You want to make them straight. And they're going to start at the bottom lines we made and go to the top of the lines we made. But our branches are going to kind of go wiggly up. So our branches are going to go farther up than this. You know, the little ones can go up like that. Our larger ones can start going up. But the lines of our trees are going to start at the bottom line straight. And you can start, you know, making branches. You can make them a little bit lower if you want, but that's where you really want the trunk. And think about, I'm going to show you guys this in a second, but think about how far they're spaced apart, because when they're closer to the center, to your dot, you want them a little bit closer together. And as they go out, you want them a little farther, spaced apart farther. That's kind of the way that works. Okay, I'm going to give just a little pause and I'll be. Okay.
And just say, somebody was saying that someone was unmuted and we're just trying to fix that.
Okay, guys. Someone was worried that people weren't muted. I think we got it. You guys should be able to hear me clearly. If you can't, please let us know. We're trying this. I'm pretty new at it, but you know, that's why we're all here to paint, and just let us know if there's anything going on that we need to work on. That's what we're here for. Okay, so you guys have the dot, your lines. For trees, you want to take your small brush, you always dip into your water, and we're going to use green and a little bit of yellow because they're lighter as they go back. I'm going to show you guys what I mean. It's almost like a little square at the end. So you want those ones in the back to be a little bit lighter. And I'll move mine a little bit closer so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. But I have green, some yellow. You can even add a little bit of white so it's nice and light. Water on your brush also helps. But I'm going to start right on the side of my dot. I'm making two lines going up. So you want to have that center nice and light. So I have two lines. And you guys have options on how you want to do this. You can either just make your lines up, your trunks, and they're going to need to be a little bit closer when they're far away. And they're thinner when they're far away too. You can make your lines. That one was too thick. Haven't painted in a while. Feels good, but you know, we all make mistakes, but they can be happy mistakes. Fix that. When acrylic paint, again, when it's dry, you can paint right on top. So if there's something that you don't like, don't worry, just wait till it dries and you can go right on top. In our you know, classes or regular classes, when people are in here, I encourage that all the time with people, like, don't worry, you can paint right on top if you want. So with our trees, I'm going to actually show you guys a trick with trees. So you really want trees to go up in Y forms. That's how I always kind of show them. So trees really make a Y shape, Y's and B's. So once my trunk hits that line, or a little bit below if you want, you're going to break it out into a Y. And you can go whatever direction you want. You can have more. But your Y's and B's break off into different directions. And you want them to go, you know, fairly high. The ones that are down at the bottom are lower, but the ones that, you know, you start going out towards the side get bigger and bigger, because again, the things that are closer to you get larger. And again, adding water to your brush really helps thin that paint out so that you can, you know, really work with it. And if it's, you know, not something that you like, you can almost kind of just paint right over it really quickly when it's wet. But you want these to go up, you know, the small ones that are your first ones, you know, almost, I don't know what that is, maybe 1/4 of the way to the top. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, but you still want them to be a little bit tall because we're going to be putting leaves everywhere. And then you want to keep moving out with your trees. Darker as you go out, thicker trunks. And break them off into those Ys and Bs. And take your time with this. I'm just doing it quickly so I can show you guys. I'm actually going to grab a piece of paper real quick to show you another example of trees. But you guys, if you want to keep going, go for it. If you're not quite sure and you need, you know, another instruction, I'm going to grab a piece of paper and show you guys how I, you know, really think about trees and how I paint them. Okay, we'll be right back. If you want to keep going, keep going. You want to make sure that you go larger as you go out, thicker, darker. You know, this is like the center of our painting where our eye goes. So you want that, you know, you want like almost a little square in the middle of where your trees are, okay? All right, I'm gonna grab a piece of paper. I'll be right back. If you guys have any questions, please ask. Okay, guys, I'm going to show you a quick thing with trees. I hope everybody is as close to the device as I can be in. So please let me know if you still can't hear me, but I'm trying to talk loud. Yeah, this is very different for me than the actual classes. I wish I was next to you guys, but we can do this. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the trees that I normally do. So when they go up, you know, you always want to think of trees as thicker at the trunk. Trunk is thick. As the branches go out, make a Y or a V, however you want to think about it, and they're always thickest at the trunk. Thickest at the trunk, they break out. You want to be smaller and smaller as they go out into the higher parts of the tree. Those are the thinnest parts. You don't want a really thick branch at the top. It'll look, you know, a little funky. You can cover it with leaves if that does happen, so don't worry. But you know, if you want to know how to make a nice little tree, this is the best way, is like making the trunk the thickest part, and then making sure your brush kind of twists to the side to make smaller branches with your small brush, and the small ones go out to the side. Whoop. Sorry. Okay. Doing the best I can here, guys. All right. And then, you know, you can make different stuff happen in your tree. You can make your tree however you want. All trees are different. Nature is unpredictable. Your tree could be whatever you want. This is just, you know, a way to make it look more realistic. Thickest at the trunk, goes off into different Ys and Vs, thinner as you go out, okay? And my trees look different than a lot of people who draw and paint. Like we all, you end up doing different trees. Because we all have our own unique style, and that's okay. That's a good thing to have your own unique way of doing things. It's like what I love about all of this is everybody's painting is different. We're kind of doing the same thing, but they end up so different. It's wonderful. Okay. I'm going to keep going with my trees. Thicker as you go out. So remember, keep thicker and darker. So if you see the original painting, they're dark as you go out. And that's actually with a little bit of black. And I can show you guys when I get there, but if you're just going and you want to keep going, the tiniest bit of black will make things super dark. So you only want to use like just the tiniest bit. I'm serious, like tiny bit. If you use too much, your whole tree will be black. If you want that, cool. But if you don't, just use just tip your brush in the tiniest bit of black, and you can put black on the sides, make it even a little shadow if you want. But that's how you make these darkest on the sides. But they're nice and light up here, and they get thicker and thicker. Remember, starting them at the line, going straight up to the top of your painting, break off the branches, and the branches are gonna be covered with leaves too, so don't stress too much about that. Yeah, and keep going, have fun with it. This is just a way to relax. Remember, you're just making a painting for yourself and having a good time, and just make your trees however you want. And I'm here for any questions. If you guys have any questions, just put them on the chat or unmute yourself.
Can you ask them if they need you to take a break so they can catch up?
Do you guys need me to take a break of talking and everything so you can catch up? I was going to take a break while I finish these trees, but is that a good idea? Everybody, we just do our trees and we'll take a nice long break so that we can do our trees.
Tell them to text.
Can you put it in the chat if that's what everybody needs? I have a feeling that is. I won't give any more instruction until we're all done with our trees, okay? And I'll help you, okay?
Yes, they need more time.
Mm-hmm.
So could you just review again what you've done so far for the person who's trying to relax?
Mm-hmm.
Try to say you want to write this and give a little more time.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a break. Please don't feel rushed. I'll give a little bit of a review, and then we'll just take our time doing this, okay? Yeah, I'll let you guys know what I've done again one more time, and then we'll just go with it. No rush. I'll wait a little bit before we do anything else. Don't worry. So once we have, again, for the person who joined a little bit later, we have our background with the lighter center, our lines that go out to each corner, white dot in the center, lines out straight, and then we add our trees on that line. You start at the bottom of the line and add your trees upwards. They get thicker and darker as you go out. And you just add those trees on making your Y's and B's as you go up to the top. I don't have you guys in here to help with your immediate questions with the trees, because I know trees always, people always have questions with the trees, but trust me, whatever you're doing is great. Your trees are going to be your own trees. They don't have to look like mine. Just break them off into Y's and B's. Try to stretch them up towards the top a little bit as you get farther and farther out. Lighter in the center, smaller, thinner, get bigger and bigger. And if you have any drips on your canvas, like I do, just dab it with a paper towel or whatever you're using. If you have a rag or something and it kind of dabs up. That happens to me a lot if you use a lot of water. So just dab it up. Use whatever materials you have to help you. I use my paper towel to do all sorts of things. But we're gonna keep moving out. You guys are doing awesome. Don't feel rushed. Just hang out. Enjoy your time.
The question is, how many trees should they plant for? And then one other comment is, as you go out for the frame, they should be farther apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you want to address those both.
So a couple questions that people have, and please keep sending questions. That's what I'm here for. So how many trees? You guys can kind of plan for however many you want in your forest, but you want to make sure that they are, smaller and go out. If you space them apart, you're going to have less, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this one. And you kind of want to make sure you have the same amount on each side. That's one thing to think about, because you want this forest floor to have these nice shadows and highlights. So, kind of, if you're staggering them, it's okay. You just have different shadows. But if you have them on, each side have the same amount, that's going to kind of help this flow of this painting on the forest floor when we do that. So, it's really up to you. If you have 7 or 6 or 10, that's fine. But this one has 8. Yeah, so you can really make however many you want. And then you do want to space them out a little bit more as you go down. These do get really thick though as you go down, and it looks like there's smaller space in between. So start farther apart, and if they get thicker, that's okay, because you do want these thicker. That's more of a focus than how far apart they are. You really want to make sure they're thicker as they get closer to the end. Okay, so as they get closer to the edge, the corner of your canvas, those are the ones you want thicker. Those are the bigger trees. And they get smaller, thinner as you go to the front. So really focus on the thickness rather than how far apart they are. I think that's going to help. Okay. I hope that helped. If it did not, please send another question. You guys are doing great. In my regular classes that we do, I always do, can I get a woo? And it feels weird that I don't have anybody to woo for the class. I hope you guys are wooing at home. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing great. Okay, hope we got some woos. All right.
And then after you get your trees done, just like a 2-minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think they're so
I am going to unmute for just a minute because I want to let all of you know something, okay? And then you should be able to hear Katie better again. While we're doing these virtual classes, the studio is officially closed, and so our wonderful teachers have volunteered to come in and teach these classes for you until we officially reopen. And Katie is one of my all-time favorite teachers. She's so gentle and kind, and I hope you agree. On her screen, it has her Venmo account. I don't know if it's called an Addy, an address, or a handle, or whatever those are called, ID, but that is her Venmo address. So if you would be so kind, if you are enjoying her class, when you're finished, if you want to give Katie a tip, that will be very much appreciated, I know. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them on chat, and we'll address those questions. Thank you so much for your generosity and kindness. We're still trying to figure out the sound in our studio for having two devices on. So could you do me a favor? If you can hear what I'm saying, could you nod? You're the best. I love you guys. Thank you. In last night's class, we had someone joining us from out of state. Do we have anyone here from outside of Denver? Question? Just shoot me a chat and let me know if you're from out of town. Thank you.
Ben was asking the last 4 digits of Katie's phone number.
9264.
You can tell me too.
9264.
Okay, but tell me.
Okay, so last 4 digits of my phone number. Thanks, guys. 9264, if you're looking for me. Thank you, guys. You're amazing. And one thing, guys, while you're doing this too, is it's okay for your trees to overlap. Like, that's kind of a good thing. You know, if your branches overlap each other, you know, the ones closer to the front, you know, kind of cover some. It looks really cool sometimes when that happens. So don't feel like your trees have to be very separate. That's just one thing I, you know, always want to add.
It's just we're not officially looking yet. I'm not worried. I'm taking care of you guys. You are.
Also, guys, one more tidbit. I always think of things while I'm painting. If you want to add that black as you get closer to the bottom corners, you know, they get darker. You want to add that kind of shadow effect. The shadow goes on the right side of the trees because the light source is at the middle. You know, if you think about that, the shadows would be on the right side, so that's the darker side. So that's something to think about if you want to add that in. It just adds a little oomph to the painting, I feel like, but you definitely don't have to. If you're just going solid green or whatever, that's fine too, but something to think about. Just one more little tip, and then I'm going to give you guys a good amount of time to work on these trees. If you want to add a tiny bit of white to the left side of your trees for a highlight, that's kind of nice too. And that's a good thing to know how to do too, is add a little bit of white for your the brighter side for a nice highlight. And the white is one of the thicker paints, so it stands out very well. Like wherever you add white, it's going to stand out. So if it's too much and you're like, I don't want that much white, just add your other color, okay? And then it will soften it a little bit. But it's a nice way to like kind of add a little something in there if you want to, just a little tip. But I'm gonna give you guys some time, maybe I don't know, 7-10 minutes. I'll check on you guys, see where you are, and then we're gonna do our forest floor. That's kind of our next step. If you're just breezing through this and want to go, you go for it. But that's kind of our next thing. So yes, keep playing with your trees. They're super fun. They can go down to the line a little farther if you want to have them look like they're rooted a little bit. Those lines are going to help because it looks like grass. Yeah, play around with those, and I'll check back with you guys in a few minutes. I know. It feels very strange. It's just like it's different. As I can hear it all. So I think a couple for me to run the stairs. It's kind of relaxing too. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is different. When there's kind of back, we'll have, I have like 10 people who also class. And they'll, I'm willing, everyone, I think it's going to go smoothly. So, but it'll be nice to have small class and do it. I really appreciate it. People want to do stuff. There was a lady, I don't know if she's on this call, or maybe she's not last night. And she was somebody, she has cancer. And she was actually a product where I've been seeing the body, she's chilling and seeing some of the kids. She's sitting in a chair and with a lot of material. We talked for a long time, and then she put on square. She did her get the trials, but she said the oars and this is person. I just love this. So it made me feel good. Yeah, those things are good. Yeah, I mean, it's really important to have this. Yeah, because I mean, I was with you too, like, we're doing this. I love it, it's struggle. Yeah, this has been really hard. I love it. I'm learning something that I will not have been motivated to learn before. And individuals, I downloaded 2 different types. One's free and one's paid. They both work totally different from each other. And then I went back and forth between the studio, which is this old computer, and then my new one, which is great. And that's not. Ask people to show up where they're at.
Hey guys, I was just wondering, Katie's now looking at the gallery view during the break. We were kind of wondering where everyone's at. Would you mind holding up your those of you who have your cameras on, can you hold it up? Pretty.
Guys, I want to see everybody. I get so excited. Nice, guys.
Wow, beautiful.
These look awesome.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, you guys are doing so great. This is so cool. All right. We'll keep going. Let's give it a couple more minutes. You guys are doing great. You're at a good stopping point. Always if you get a break yourself, grab yourself a drink, a snack, whatever you need. Nice being at home to do this. Whatever you need. But yeah, you guys are doing great. Let me know if you have any questions.
And just a reminder, you can unmute yourself to ask a question as well. We just ask that when you're not talking to us that you turn it back on. Also, I'm not really sure what it looks like on your end since we're all pretty new to Zoom here. Oh man, your pictures are so pretty. But I was wondering if everyone can see the chat or if you have to specifically go looking for it. My question is to Regina. I'm just wondering if you're caught up okay. Regina, did we give you enough time to catch up? You can unmute and answer, or you can send a chat, or you can ignore me, whatever you want. Your call. Awesome, thank you everyone. I was just telling Katie that this is really helping us learn it's pushing us to learn things we didn't know before. And so I guess it's, this time is one of learning. So thanks for helping us out. And I'm not sure where you guys, what your device looks like, but on mine, on the lower left corner of the screen, I can mute and unmute myself. Different apps are different devices are different. There's also one that says start video and I can turn it on or off. And then with that, it also gives me an option of changing my background. And that's kind of fun. So if you have a minute and you want to play with that, find that you can put yourself in another place. Oh, great. Megan is from San Francisco. I like that. So, fun with Zoom.
The woman I was concerned about. I was trying to doing it. Because I can't, oh, this is as an internet because the computer is so sketchy here. And I couldn't move it over there. So when I was trying to do it myself, I was running back and forth. Can you imagine? And then I just also did. It sounds okay. It was good.
Okay, artists. I think we're gonna get going on our forest floor here. If you're not quite ready, that's okay. You can keep working on your trees. The good thing about acrylic painting too is like you can always go back and mess with things. Like it's never your last brush stroke is what I like to tell people, because you can always go back and do things. Again, when it's dry, you paint right over whatever you've done. When it's wet is when it blends together. But we're gonna work on our forest floor here. And I'm gonna move the original up. I know you can see it on our Zoom profile, but if you see on here, it's these lines back and forth that kind of connect the trees, add some highlights and some shadows to make it look nice and even and nice alive. So we're gonna be doing that as our next thing. Again, add water on your brush. We're gonna move to that medium brush or just whatever brush you have that's maybe a little bit smaller than your biggest brush. If you only have your big brush and a small brush, like the little one, that's fine too. But this one's good for the forest floor. So grab your medium brush, and we're going to be making brush strokes like this, going back and forth, back and forth. You can turn it sideways to make bigger brush strokes. Turn it skinny ways to make littler ones. You can go back and forth, switching between. But we're gonna start with the top here and kind of connect these two trees that we started with. And that's where we want it light. Remember, we want it light, you know, closest to our light source and get darker and darker. So we're gonna be adding green, yellow, and white, or whatever colors you're using. Just make sure you're adding white to make it lighter. So green, yellow, white. Again, just add some white and some water on your brush so you can make sure that it's nice and thin at first, and then you can always thicken it up. But I'm going to show you guys how to add those highlights as well. So I'm going to add some yellow on my brush and some green and some white because I want it lighter. And you got to play around on your palette, or you can test it out on your canvas. I do that all the time as well because you can always paint over it. I'm adding water to my brush, adding some white because I want it light. And I'm going to make my line for my forest floor, connecting my two trees. And I want it pretty straight across. My trees aren't exactly straight across, so I'm going to make sure that that line is straight. I covered my tree a little bit, but that's okay. I can go back. And then I'm going to be making my brush strokes back and forth like this. See, I'm turning my brush. I'm going straight across. Make sure you keep your brush strokes horizontal back and forth because that's going to help make that look like the ground. So add your brush strokes and then, you know, kind of keep it, you know, to the line. You know, if it goes over a little bit, that's okay. If you cover some trees, that's okay. You can always go back, but add, you know, add the lightest stuff at the top to your trees that are closest to the light, your brightest white, and then go down. And it gets darker and darker as you go down. Kind of the same thing as we did with the trees. If you accidentally add a little black like I did, you can
add more color and wait till that dries. But you want it darker as you go down. And then I'm going to show you guys how to add that little highlight at the very end of our adding the forest floor, okay? Just make sure that your brush strokes are horizontal is the main thing. And then you can just play around with it. Have fun with it. Play around with your brush strokes. You can make these lines like zigzags a little bit if you want. You can wait till it dries a little bit and then add some more, but light and then dark, okay? If you guys have questions, please let me know. This painting has a lot going on, a lot of things that, you don't normally play around with in a beginner's painting class if you're new. But it's something that we want to show you, and it's cool. So definitely let me know if you have questions, okay? Light to dark, horizontal brush strokes, you can do it.
This is the 50th anniversary. I was reading that when
It's okay. I'm not worried if you're worried about that, but I'm good.
Okay.
I'm really not. I trust you. I trust it. Yeah, I can.
When I was in my parents' house, they lived out in Elizabeth, Michigan, southeast of Denver, like there's Parker, like the Michigan house out in Parker, but I went to in Parker. It's so weird, Denver, like everybody's so being careful. Did you see that sign? I was one of the only people on there that said, everybody could go, it's so weird. That new sign. It's always signs.
Yeah.
I think it's good to still be careful. It's weird that some cities are like, oh no. Yeah, because I'm here a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy it. One of these days too. This is fun.
Oh, good.
Oh, Wahoo's just closed. Did you see that? Yeah, somebody in there and it. Customers that were closed for 2 weeks.
Was it employees or customers?
I was just a note on the door saying, because there was exposure that left it closed for 2 weeks.
And guys, one little tidbit, if you leave some brush strokes alone and don't mix them in with your paint, because when it's wet, it mixes.
it's kind of nice to leave those. If you have, you know, one brush stroke that's, you know, darker green, or I believe that one, but you know, or a lighter yellow where you want it. It's kind of nice to have some that are left alone. You don't have to blend everything. Just those brush strokes back and forth is kind of a good way to see how that goes, and then you can kind of leave it. But go all the way down to the bottom. At the bottom, you can add the tiniest bit of black to add that darkness that you did for your trees. And then I'm going to show you guys a highlight in just a couple minutes. I want to make sure everybody's caught up. Can I get a woo? I'm just kidding. You don't have to, but can't help it. It's in me.
Woo!
Oh, I heard one. Yeah.
Oh no, Marilyn said she wishes she had acrylic. She's using fiber paint and it's terrible. You know what? We could try turning the phone and see if they just, let's ask them, maybe turn it sideways so they can see the two paintings more in the width. And then we can ask them, does this feel better? Okay. Yeah, I don't want to mess with it too much. Just, okay, or not. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have to figure this out. I have to come to the studio. I think this I think we're doing okay though. I think so too. This is what makes me. I'm sorry how I put it out there. Sorry. How do you do this? Just hold the trigger? Yeah. Oh, don't you don't put it on the phone? Yeah. Just hold it about an inch or two away from your forehead, not your eye. There you go. Actually, no, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So just hold it here like this. And then hold it still for a few seconds. Go ahead. No, don't move it. You're moving. Don't move it. So you just point it at your head and leave it a little closer. Leave it alone. And then wait for the. There you go. It's the little one that keeps it's not a swipe, it's a hold still. And more, so I'll try again. It's good to have that though.
Okay, friends, I'm going to show you guys how to add a little bit of highlight onto your ground before we move to our leaves, which is pretty much our last little step. So if you go into your white, and if your forest floor is getting a little bit dry, Just add a little bit of water to your brush, and you can add a little bit of your yellow or your green to kind of mix it. But if you haven't done this, just add a little bit of white to add that highlight. I'm adding some white, and I'm just moving it back and forth in different directions, barely touching my canvas. It's really light. I'm touching my canvas and just a really light touch. I'm just adding a little bit of highlight here and there. It doesn't have to go all the way across. If you've ever painted water, it's kind of similar to that. You want to just add a little bit of white here and there, and you can mix a little bit of color back in if you want. But that's nice to add a little bit of highlight. If you haven't done that already, just add a little bit of white and just kind of add some brush strokes here and there. It kind of helps add a little something. And if it seems too light, just grab your brush and kind of mix it in. And it's never your last brush stroke. You can always play around with it. There's always a way to make it how you want it. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys just like a couple more minutes and we'll move on to our leaves. We're almost there.
Lindsay, what did you not show me over there when I it was using the brush to make the lines to the center. I don't know if over here. Oh, yeah, because the painting was over there. Okay, okay.
Also, artists, one thing that you guys can do, if you are done with your forest floor and you have time, if you want to paint the sides of your painting, of the canvas, it has a nice finished look when you paint all the way around. We paint all the sides of our canvases. You can just hang it up right when you get home, or you are home. Oh gosh, I'm so used to saying that. You can hang it up right when you're done, as long as it's dry. But yeah, paint the bottom and the sides and the top of just your green, kind of have that nice flow. If you're kind of done with what you're doing and waiting for something to do, that's a nice thing to have a nice finished painting.
All right, guys. I just want to see where everybody is. If you're taking a break, that's fine. Just to make sure everybody's at the spot we want to be. If you're behind a little bit, that's okay. But I just want to see everybody's paintings. Really, I just want to check on everybody. I don't walk around and see you. So if you're comfortable holding it up for me to see, I'd love to see it. Ooh, nice. Nice. You guys are doing so good. Well, it's fun for everybody to see, each other's paintings too, which is always great at the end of our classes. We can get inspiration from other people. Oh, you guys are doing amazing. All right, I think we're about ready for leaves. Maybe one more minute. Does everybody need one more minute? Can I get a thumbs up for one more minute? Are you ready to go? One more minute. Okay. Okay. Check back in 1 second.
Hard. But it's good. I'm learning it.
I think it's a good reminder that, even if they're not hot out, we do want to, end before too late. And then they can always, keep going. No one's going to kick them out of their homes. Right.
All right, my artists, I'm going to show you guys how to add these leaves and kind of finalize our painting. We are getting close to 9 o'clock. So, you know, those of you who plan on ending at 9, I want to show you what to do. And if you guys are not ready to end, like, keep painting. You're at home. You can do what you want, which is great. We don't have to kick you out of the studio. So, yeah, you can keep going if you're not ready to be done. But I'm going to show you guys how to kind of finish up this painting and make it look so magical. One thing I do want to have you guys do before we do the leaves, if you have a white spot in the center of your painting for where we added our lines, try to blend that in a little bit. If you don't, that's great. But I definitely have one, so I want to blend that in. I'm grabbing more white, and I'm taking my medium brush, that one we just did for the forest floor, which is clean, doesn't have any green on it. And I'm taking some white, some clean white, and just kind of pushing outwards from the center. So it almost looks like, you know, a sunbeam maybe. So you can kind of blend that in a little bit so it's not so prominent, and you can make it go away a little bit. You can keep working on that too. But that helps make that look a little more natural. Okay, leaves. If you do have a fan brush like this, fan brush is really fun for leaves. If you don't, any of your you know, flat brushes work too. If you have your big one, works great. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that with this one first. So you want to do your green. Green first, and then we're going to add just what we were doing with our trees and our forest floor, with a little bit of, you know, shadow and a little bit of highlight. So if we add green first, that just adds like that nice background for our leaves. So you can take your large brush, dip into your green, and just start dabbing it onto your canvas. You're really just going in a random way, and turn your brush, pick it up, and you're just tapping it on there. Tapping, tapping, tapping. You don't have to go in a particular way, and go lower than where your branches are a little bit, especially on the sides. If you want that like rounded look where it's like an arch, go lower than your branches. So take your leaves down to, you know, closer to the bottom right and closer to the bottom left. You're going down, and then you're making this arch. So you're gonna add a little bit on those back trees, but you want to make that arch. So tapping that brush. If you want it to be more detailed and kind of want to, you know, twist your brush and make those branches a little, or those leaves a little bit different, you can do that too. If you do have a fan brush, it's the same thing. The fan kind of makes those leaves as well. And the green kind of blends in a little bit, especially on your corners, but you want that as like a background. And again, I'm like twisting my brush, tapping it lightly towards my back trees where it's light, because you want that to be the lightest spot. So I'm tapping lightly there and bringing it all the way around. And play around with it. Again, twisting your brush, you want those branches. This is kind of like a random thing where these leaves sit. And every forest is different. Like, don't worry about it too much. So once you have some green on there, and I'm going to add more green, but I just want to show you guys what's next, in case you are ready to be done. And I'll come back and do this again for those of you who want to hang. I added just a tiny bit of black to my brush. And now I'm tapping a tiny bit of black, especially on these back trees, the ones that are on the sides of your canvas, the left and the right sides, closer to the end. And if you have white lines on there, like I do, you want to cover those up for sure. And you're just tapping, 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 tapping. But you want to cover most of your background. If you love your trees and you don't want to cover them so much, then don't do so many. If you have an idea of like just tapping your brush with circles or something, do that. This is just a way to add those leaves, and this is all done just tapping the brush. So you can do your green and then a little bit of black, and then we're going to add some white and yellow towards the front. But I'm going to let you guys work on this for a minute, and then I'll show you guys how to do that, okay? Everybody doing okay? Hopefully everybody's happy at home. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm here for you. I love answering the questions, so please let me know. And again, thank you guys for supporting a local business. We really appreciate you guys for coming and painting, and you know, tips are always appreciated. My Venmo's on my screen of what I'm painting. You know, that's helps so much right now. So thank you guys for joining us either way. But come back. We're going to be open soon. We are. Do some private classes, some smaller classes. So I'd love to see your faces in person. All right, my artists, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. This highlight on the trees is kind of your last step. Since it's past 9, I want to make sure I give everybody the time that they need if they need to be done with their painting. Again, if you're not done, keep going. I'm going to rinse out my brush from my green and my black pretty well, and dab it on your paper towels or whatever you have. Try to get a little bit clean, pretty clean. And then I'm going right into my white and my yellow. But I'm making sure I don't have a ton of paint on my brush. You know, you want a light touch. And I actually ran out of my phthalo green. Instead of getting more, I mixed my blue, my yellow. Like I told you guys, you could at the beginning make kind of a nice green. So I have that too that I can kind of mix if you want. But you want to have those like nice little highlights towards the center of your painting where that light is coming from. And again, you're just tapping, twisting. You know, don't think too much about where you're putting these. You know, if you think too much, it ends up being more pattern than nature, which, you know, we all have a tendency to do. We want to make sense of it, but really just try to tap it on there, like let it go. And, you know, add a little bit of white to your brush and kind of move outwards from the center and add some white on there. white and yellow, and it makes it nice, like little glow. You can even bring it out towards the edges. You don't have to stop in the middle. The edges need it too. Means the light's hitting these trees too. I'm really feeling like Bob Ross at the minute. Like I said earlier, with nobody talking to me, I'm like, well, happy trees, guys. I'm gonna make our happy trees. All right, please let me know if you guys have any questions. Keep playing around with this. Yeah, I'm so happy you guys joined me tonight. I needed this probably more than you did, but I'm so happy that you guys joined me and I got to paint with you. So thank you so much.
I'm here.
Hi,
it's Peapod.
Nice Peapod. That's our friend Squirrel. Peapod's here too. He could sit on my shoulder if he wants, but yeah. Okay, my artists, you guys have done amazing work. Keep working if you need to. You know, painting just feels so good in times like this, and just being creative. Like, I think it's a really good outlet. But I'm done with all my instruction for you guys. Like, if you want to keep working on it, do. I'm sure that you know, you have some stuff you want to touch up on. If you're like done and want to go watch TV, you do that. But thank you guys again for joining me. But I'm out of here. Okay, you guys did amazing.